TJ, welcome to the podcast.
Appreciate you having me, Robert.
Look, I found you through your TED Talk, how coaching made me a better father, which we're going to go through and just kind of give a quick introduction. Your basketball coach, of course, a husband and father. You are also an accomplished author as well of a book, Dad and Me, I saw, as well as a personal development coach. But I wanted to, we are going to go into your TED Talk. But what did I miss? I mean, I feel like you've got a pretty full resume there.
No, I think accomplished would be a stretch. I am an author. I have a let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4 published children's books, and
Wow.
and I'm working on 3. 2 are already completed. They just need to be formatted, and then I'll be writing another one, and all 3 of those will be out next year. So we're getting it back going, man. I've been on a little bit of a hiatus. I think it's been about a year, but since I put out Dad and Me, and that was just something quick, just to kind of highlight. My son and I, we do a lot of things together, just based on my schedule. I'm a little
Yeah.
bit, I'm available, and I was in education prior to this, so he was with me during the summers while Mom was at work. But then when she come home, they have their own relationship, right?
Yeah.
And then we have the things that we do together as a family. But I just wanted to just highlight something quick that dads and sons just do. Like he watched me shave, so now he wanted to shave. I tied his first tie, and I remember learning how to tie my own tie. So it was things like that. So
That is so cool. I actually had, for a fleeting moment, I had this idea about writing a kid's book and never did it. So I'm impressed, and congratulations on 4 of that's
thank you,
amazing.
thank you. Yeah.
That is amazing. Hey, so I asked, what else did we miss? Tell me about you. How did you get to where you are now? I just want to like where did you grow up? Family life, and to where you are now.
Yeah, so I was born in Orangeburg, South Carolina. And
Okay.
that's where the mass majority of my family still lives. But we moved to Texas originally when I was probably 3 or
Okay.
4, and then we went to Germany, and then my sister and I went back to South Carolina and lived with my grandmother for a little while, and I think we moved back to Texas. I want to say the end of '89, the beginning of '90, and I've been here pretty much ever since. So I
So
grew up.
Germany was somebody in the military?
Yeah, so my mom was initially in the military, but we moved to Germany. My dad was working for a company that did work with the military.
Okay.
So those are the
Okay.
years I remember. So kindergarten, the second half of kindergarten, first grade, and half of second grade were in
Okay.
Germany. And then we moved to Coppers Cove, Texas, which which is
No
about,
idea.
so you have no one knows. It's Central Texas, and there's Big Fort Hood, right? So or
Yeah.
Fort
Yeah.
Cavazos now.
Yeah.
And on one side is Killeen.
Hmm.
That's a little bit more well known, athletes, high schools, things of that nature.
Yep.
Then on the other side of Fort Hood is Coppers Cove. And
Okay.
we actually, we have our own little sports legacy. We have one high school, but we've had some pros. We got some college coaches that's come out of there. We had a Heisman winner in Robert Griffin III that came out of Coppers Cove.
I
So
didn't realize that he was from there.
yeah, we have, to me, a Hall of Famer in Charles Tillman. Peanut
Yeah.
Tillman that played for the
Yeah.
Bears, went to Coppers
Yeah.
Cove. Yeah, so we got some guys, man. We got some guys.
And there was another, which I didn't even mention. There was another D1 athlete that came out of there too that played basketball, right?
There were, yeah. Yeah, so I came, so yeah, so I played basketball growing up. I probably played the wrong sport. Being in Texas, I probably should have played football, but the 2 things that you gotta really, really love about football, I really didn't. So I didn't like to tackle, and I didn't like to be tackled.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you a funny story though. Everybody asks me who the favorite coach I ever played for. It's my high school coach, Benny Ward, who I've never had a coach like him before that. I never had a coach like him after that. He, country guy, Wranglers, boots, and our team was not that at all, right?
Yeah.
So, but he was himself. And I'll tell you a story. I was sitting in science class, 8th period, and I was about to go get my football pads to go play. But they were already 2 weeks into the football season. But in Texas, I mean, if you want to play football, you can pretty much play football if you want
Yeah.
to. So I was going to go play because I missed it. Because I was a good, solid safety, because those are the same skills you use on the basketball court, right?
Yeah.
As long as it was free safety, I didn't have to get down and get in there and tackle. So, so I was going to get my pads the next day, and he caught wind of it. And it just so happened that he was in our basketball class that day, and I did well. And he came and said, the only thing he said to me was, "I heard you're gonna play football. I'm not gonna tell you not to. I'm gonna just say hoopers hoop," and that's it. And he left, send me back to class, and that's all I needed
Wow.
to hear. I played. I didn't play basketball. Didn't play football. I played basketball. Played well as a freshman. Started as a sophomore for the majority of the season on varsity, and it's just been kind of history ever since.
Tell me about your basketball story. And I know we're kind of jumping into it a little bit, but
Hmm.
one of the things that impressed me was on your Instagram page when you were speaking to a group of young men. I think it was a team. One, I love the way you addressed them and getting their attention. But can you kind of walk me through your high school to college and all of that? And it's fine if you
Yeah,
share that
man.
same story. I would actually
Yes.
love for you to.
Yeah. So in high school, so growing up, I was always one of the better players in my area.
Hmm.
Um, and a lot of me, if you just watched me play, like my quote unquote skill set was probably not one that jumped off the page, but um, I was effective because I thought I was the greatest thing playing at the time,
Hmm.
and no matter when I was playing, and I took it seriously very early, right? So I took basketball seriously at a very early age. I knew it was what I wanted to do. So I probably did things that people my age didn't do. I played every chance I got. I didn't grow up with a basketball goal because we didn't have the extra money like that. So I shot my 100 form shots in my room every day. I had my pregame routine. Um, Luckily, I had some older guys that kind of looked after me, so they would bring me to open gym when I was in seventh and eighth grade to be with the older guys. I barely got picked up initially, but if you get out there in eighth grade and score 1 point, you're doing something
Yeah.
serious at that time. So, fast forward, man, to high school. Like I hurt my junior year, so I didn't play well. We didn't play well, either. My senior year, I had a really good senior year, but we didn't go to the playoffs, and so we were kind of like, what do you do? Because I could have played. Looking back at 42, I could have played better, obviously. But it just so happened that Coach Kirby Johnson at Temple Junior College was coming to recruit another player that we were playing against. And I just had a really good game that game, right? Like 27 points, 13 rebounds, something like that. Um, and so I ended up going there and playing at Temple Junior College for a couple years. Played okay, but I tell you what, man, and this is a story that I like to share, and I'll keep it brief here, is
No, go into it. I want you to.
so my superpower in on the court was my tenacity, right? Like again, I wasn't the most skilled. I didn't have the greatest handle. I didn't shoot the best from three. Now my pull up, I would put up against anybody. But
Mm.
my thing was I wanted to win so bad that I cried after losses probably until I was a man. It was not good. Like it's my competitive nature was my superpower. I didn't care what
You
anybody
had
else
that
did.
grit.
Yeah, I just always thought I was the best.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter what you did. I thought I was my sophomore year was kind of up and down because I was young, but other than that, by the time I was a senior, I thought that you shouldn't be on the court with me. That didn't always materialize, but that was my superpower. Long story
Yeah.
short, I didn't care how it looked. I didn't care whatever. For some reason in my brain, when I got to college, I started to compare myself. So I got this it's a funny story. I got this better basketball DVD, and it was kind of like sharpening your skills, right? So I became just ultra robotic when that's never been my game. My game has
Mm.
always been on feel, always
Mm.
been on like again, I probably didn't have the smoothest handle, but I didn't get the ball taken from me either. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Because my
Yeah.
instincts were always there because that's what I
Yep.
relied on. Um, but then when I got that, I started being kind of robotic in my movements. I felt like I had to change my game to play like a college player. And man, it killed my confidence because I wasn't comfortable. And Robert, I probably didn't regain my confidence until I was 25 years old. So
Wow.
I went all the way through college, second guessing everything I did, second guessing everything on the court, comparing myself to different guys. It got to the point that I would like try to talk myself out of it to my teammates to where I became unlikable. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like
Yeah.
I'm selling wolf tickets.
Yep.
But I would have whole games where I would shoot maybe 3 times to where one of my friends, I never forget, his name is Edwine Green, buddy. He pulled me to the side and gave me the stat sheet and was like, bro, you have to shoot more. Like you're better than this. You know what I'm saying? And I couldn't format it at the time in my brain, but he was really, really giving me the thing that I needed, and it just never materialized. But luckily, my sophomore year, I made honorable mention all conference, even then, average probably about 11 or something like that. But we played against this team called South Plains. And South Plains was historically good. And again, they had a kid going to BYU, and I just played really, really well that game. Even though I still did. This is how crazy I was, Robert. I can't remember anything I did good besides like 4 strip steals. I know I had 17 points and double-digit rebounds from the guard position, but I distinctly remember 2 air balls that I shot. Still, right now, that was 23 years ago, and I can still remember it. Right, but in but in the stands was Texas A&M Corpus Christi,
Yeah.
and they had coaches from there, and they came and saw me play twice. And they saw me play at Collin County. I had a good game. They saw me play that game. I had a good game. Both games, we won the one in South Plains. The game in Collin County, I actually missed the game-winning free throws. It was a tech at the end of the game. So anyway, and this is another thing I tell kids, is that when somebody goes out of their way to recruit you, you probably should consider them, right?
Yeah.
Because where
Yeah.
my basketball career started it went from a small veer to a complete left turn, was when coach from St. Edwards in Austin landed and was ready to come recruit me sight unseen. I was on the recruiting visit when his vehicle was getting delivered to the school, right? This is a guy who saw 2 tapes of me and said, we got to have him. He was like, listen, D2, that's when I learned about the whole scholarship thing and how there's buckets and whatever. He said, we'll figure it out. Just tell me you're coming. So I went, but I was hell-bent on going Division I, man. Hell-bent. And even before then, I went to this JUCO camp. I drove myself, Robert. This is how bad I wanted it. I drove my 1993 Mazda 626 with printed out maps, right? So this is 2002. So I had
MapQuest.
a printed out MapQuest, and I drove to Tulsa, Oklahoma with a CD player with the tape adapter.
Yeah, I know
'Cause
what you're talking.
I drove there by myself and went to a Mullins camp with nobody but myself. I was the only
Wow.
person there for my team, and I played okay. I ended up being on a team that was their real team. But I got recruited by Abilene Christian. I'll never forget, because I broke my nose in a game, and I came back and played the next game. And he was like, "You're a good player, but it's your toughness that we need."
Yep.
I was so ignorant, bro, that I looked at their schedule, and I knew there was Division II, and I saw they had only won like 3 games, and I blew them off. So at the end of my sophomore year, when I'm trying to send out tape to everybody that would, you know, would take it, and I called the Abilene Christian coach, now he's blowing me off.
Yeah.
Right? And rightfully so.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. But anyway, I still had a chance to go Division II and play. And I was hell-bent on going Division I, so I ended up calling an A&M coach, and A&M Corpus Christi coach, Coach Chuck Taylor, who, I have an immense respect for. And he was like, if you're coming, come on. So I went down on an unofficial visit. They took me through everything, and I ended up going there as a recruited walk-on, man. I starting in JUCO, what I was telling the kids that you saw, again, I've been a star my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
The first 3 games, I was redshirting at first. And then the first 3 games that I took my red shirt off, I didn't even get on. I didn't even step on the court. 3 games. I'm like, I didn't even have the skill set to handle this. You know what I mean? I called my mom and said, I'm going to the Air Force. This is nonsense.
Yeah.
Because not only had I not had to deal with that, nobody in my family that I knew had played college sports. I didn't have any reference.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of going through by myself. Luckily, I stuck with it enough. But I go to A&M Corpus, man, and I go through the whole off season, and I'm doing okay. We have a midnight madness. Again, this is my crazy brain, right? So I'm already fighting through like issues with my confidence.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm playing okay. Not great. There were guys that were better players than me for sure that were already there. But we're in the circle, and the coach is going down the list of who's going to play on the blue team, who's going to play on the white team, and they have my real name on there. So they go Tyrone Boyd. He's like, "Who's Tyrone?" And I'm standing right beside him, Rob. And I'm like, "It's me." He's like, "Oh." So in my brain, he was slighting me, right? So I had it made up
Mm-hmm.
in my brain that every time I touched the ball in Midnight Madness, I was going to shoot. Like, you gonna know who I am for better or for worse.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
here's the crazy part, Robert. I actually played well on that Midnight Madness, because that was my superpower. Growing
Mm-hmm.
up, I would get annoyed when my teammates would watch the other teams warm up, and here's how sick I was. I would get annoyed that the other team was there, and then at tip off, somebody would say, "I got him." Because why do you think you can guard me? That's how sick it was. It was sick. It was sick. But that's what made me like the maniacal person I was. Long story short, man, after the Midnight Madness, time to get ready for the season. My reps get cut short in practice. I go meet with an assistant coach. He tells me, he shuts the door and tells me, I don't know what to tell you. You know, you're playing well enough. I had some transition issues with the levels.
Yeah.
And he goes, just hang in there. The coach that recruited me said, I'm telling you, just stick with it. So then I meet with the head coach. The head coach calls me in. And again, looking back, Robert, that man didn't have to call me to his office. I was a lowly recruited walk-on.
Yeah.
He didn't have to speak to me, but he
Yeah.
called me in. And that's when he told me the story that you heard when he said, look, man, there's guys ahead of you. You may play some this year. You may never play the 2 years that you're here. I like you. As a kid, I like you as a player. And like I said, you may help us at some point in the 2 years that you're here, but you also may be the team Rudy. I'm like,
Mm.
Rudy is a cute story. No disrespect to the real Rudy.
Right. Right.
Rudy wasn't good. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm not a Rudy. A Rudy, and I walked away from that. I stood outside of that office for about 3 minutes. And I walked away and I walked straight to the locker room and packed my stuff, wrote a letter on the board and left. I came
Mm.
back to that office. They were having a coaches meeting and you can see the horror in the two assistants looking at me like, what? Don't do this. Don't do this. I said, I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to leave. 2 weeks before we played our first season game at Florida State. Here's what you didn't hear in that part on Instagram. My whole life, I wanted to play for University of North Carolina, right? It started to be realistic when you get older. Okay, I'm not going to
Mm-hmm.
UNC, but they were in the ACC,
Mm-hmm.
right? Our first game that year was Florida State, who is in the
ACC.
ACC. So I would have been playing on the same floor that I wanted to be playing on my whole life. Instead, another thing that I didn't share with those kids, that night that they were playing Florida State, I went out. I probably was depressed at the time, but I didn't know. Went out with my friends. There was a bar, a club fight or whatever, and I ended up getting stabbed.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
So while they're coming back, I'm getting calls from the team because I got like 4 staples in my head and 5 in my back because that's not where I was supposed to be. My
Yeah.
life wasn't aligned to be out there,
Yeah.
right? And that's where it just kind of all went left, man. I transferred from there to Division III in McMurray. By that time, my mentality was shot. I played for a coach I didn't really care for at the time. We bumped heads, and then I developed rheumatoid arthritis. And I didn't know what it was at the time because I was 22, so nobody would diagnose me with it. So I'm going through these pains. I caught strep throat, and I lost like 14 pounds in 2 weeks. And then I played 7 more games for the rest of my life, man, and my career was over.
Damn.
Just that fast. So I went from the highest of highs, a man wanting to have me a part of his roster that didn't even know me, to a year and a half later, a has-been.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned from all of that?
So the biggest lesson I learned, a couple things, man. Number one is be who you are. Like
Yeah.
once you're in a place, it doesn't matter how you got there. It doesn't matter why you got there. It doesn't
You're
matter
there.
anybody else's story. You're there, and you're
Yeah.
there because of what you do,
Yeah.
right? Second, and this can go for relationships, this can go for recruiting. Go with who loves you.
It's
If
great.
they want you to come, if they're going out of their way to recruit you to their program, they see something in you. So pay attention to it,
Yeah.
right? It may not be the biggest name, it may not be the school of your dreams, but I can assure you that if you just shun that opportunity, you may be living a nightmare later, for sure. It took me years to free myself of the identity of being a basketball player. I didn't know what to do. It's all I've done my whole life, you know? So at 22 now, it's gone. And not only is it gone, but you physically can't do it anymore because I was going through my rheumatoid arthritis. Man, I didn't know what to do. It spun me into a depression, honestly. I had no idea what to do with my life.
How did you, I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did.
Yeah,
I mean, you were wrapped up in all of that. How did you move forward from that?
man. So I finally ended up going to a therapist.
Yeah.
When I moved to Atlanta at 27, and I went to a therapist and kind of unwrapped it a little bit. But
Yeah.
also, I'll tell you what really, really, really helped me. I played in a couple rec leagues and I played well. But when I started coaching, and you have to take yourself away as the player.
Yeah.
Because you can't tell the kids, when I was your age, who cares?
Yeah.
You know, and you have no control over what happens out there, but also you start to see things from a different like kind of view. It's more of a 30,000 foot perspective, and it helped me mend my relationship with the game of basketball, because when I didn't have it anymore, I couldn't even watch the draft for like 5 years.
Damn.
It really messed with me.
That's amazing. I never was that skilled at any sport, so I can't really say that I was good or good enough. But, you know, I never did excel at anything to even close to that level to really have my identity wrapped up in there. But I can't imagine from just a young age to, you know, through college, what you're saying and coming out of that.
I'll tell you what, man, even more than, and this is kind of, again, where coaching and seeing what these young people go through kind of helped with, is it just the immense feeling of just failure.
Yeah.
Because your whole life, you know, even when I would go back to visit home, I stopped going back to visit because, like, oh man, I thought you'd be in the league by now. And I'm looking at them like, well, why? Because I scored 30 in a church league game? You know what I mean? It's just because I was always good for my area, right?
Yeah.
And it just, I never, as a young person, I had a lot of older people that would, you know, not necessarily speak highly of me because their sons played.
Yeah.
Right. And so I really felt like it was kind of me against the world. Then when it didn't happen, I had made up in my mind that this was my way of getting my family out of our situations. Right. I was going to take care of the family. I was going to blah, blah, blah. And I know we'll get into it later, but that's why it's just not fair for parents to do that to their kids. My mom never did that, and my dad never did that. I did it to myself, right?
Yeah.
And so when it didn't materialize, the feeling of failure was hard to shake. It was hard to shake, and I couldn't do it by myself. I had to get help to do that.
You had that Mamba mentality. I mean, you did, and that's what coaches want. You know, Jordan, I mean, you had that. You so much of what you're saying. It's like, oh my gosh, this is like seems like a Kobe or MJ. You know?
Yeah.
And I think, and we will get into it, but I think it's what so many players are missing today.
Yeah. And I think the great thing that my mom did, my parents got divorced and I was, you know, kind of going through adolescence, but my dad wasn't absent by any means.
Yeah.
He introduced the game of basketball to me, so I owe him a lot. He was my biggest supporter. He was never my biggest fan. So he wasn't delusional at all. Yeah. So if I went and I scored 2 points in the 8th grade game, he'll say something like, well, you could have just stayed on with me if you was going to do that. You know? And then after that, he would say, okay, now let's look at what needs to be done to play better. My mom, she just wants to cheer, man. She don't, she ain't, she not going to talk to no coach.
Right?
Yeah,
she was a mom.
She's not going to talk to no coach. She not stepping in the practice.
She thought you looked cute in your uniform. She wanted to get pictures. It didn't matter.
She cheering for everybody on the team. She ain't yelling at the refs, nothing. She just cheering, man. So it gave me the freedom to just play ball because she never did that to me. She never said you're gonna take care of us, you're gonna make it to the pros. She was like, but whatever you want to do. She just wanted me to shoot.
She just wanted you happy. Yeah.
Yeah, shoot. It's like you open. Like, Mom, I'm at half court. Yes, I am open. Like, nah, shoot. That's it. And so that gave me the freedom to just play, man, and really just enjoy the game.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Before we go into your TED Talk, Kobe or LeBron?
Well, let's get something clear. I'm a Michael Jordan guy.
Okay, that's where we were going next.
Okay,
that's where we were going next. I was leading you on that because I was going to see who you picked. Yeah, all right, so rank them 1, 2, 3.
I'm gonna have to go. God, this hurts me to do. Jordan 1, and I actually don't think it's that close. Jordan 1. I'm gonna have to go. LeBron 2.
All right. So TJ, it was great having you on. I'll talk.
The only reason why I say that. The only reason why I say that because this is gonna sound insane. I think LeBron is one of the greatest sports stories just because he was supposed to be the one and he turned out to be. But I think a lot of who we want to be as basketball players is probably Kobe. Yeah. Because LeBron had some shortcomings early that his physicality just kind of hid.
Yeah.
Later, he became a more skilled player to me later. But I can't to be this great this long, man. And that's tough. I think that speaks a lot. That's a testament to how he takes care of himself. I think it really is.
And look, if that had been around in Kobe's day, I don't know if Michael would have stuck around longer or not. But they could have played that long too.
Yeah. I mean, we'll talk, off mic about this whole because these people make these stats look a certain way, and I have to say, hold on.
Yeah, I am certainly a Jordan fan, and I argue with my two sons on that all the time. And but I'm absolutely Jordan, then Kobe, and then
I won't argue with that.
Distant third, maybe you would say LeBron, but there's some other people I can throw in there too.
I can't argue with that.
I'm not taking anything away from LeBron. I'm not. Right. Is he a great player? Absolutely, he is. Absolutely. I mean, what he got. 30 points last night or something, 34 or something like that when I was watching. But I've never seen anything like Michael or Kobe. And that's just, it's grit. A lot of what you were talking about with yourself too.
Yeah. Yeah. I had to. I mean, I had to figure out the game early. So I had to figure out tendencies, where the angles were, how to spin the ball off the backboard a certain way, Mind you, back in the day, I come from strength shoes, so we're doing 400 calf raises a day, trying to get hops. Which now I know that that's not what helps, but what it does, it just instills sports itself, man. And this is something I try to share with parents that allowed me to speak to them. Is sports will teach you a lot if you just let it do it. If you don't interfere and try to put any unnecessary pressure or any unnecessary comparisons. Man, sports are a great vehicle to learn some very, very valuable lessons you can take with you throughout the rest of your life.
100% agree. 100% agree. Team sports and also individual. I 100% agree there. I think the kids should be involved in each of those. And you learn so much about it, so much about life and toughness and pushing through, not quitting. I know we had a talk a week or so ago or whenever it was, and talking about quitting. You don't quit. You're in the season. Or we paid for these lessons for the next year. You're in it.
And again, coming from somebody who quit.
Yeah.
I still mark that as one of the worst mistakes I ever made.
Yeah, but you know what? I look at it, TJ, I look at it this way. Okay, so it's one of the worst mistakes you've ever made, but look at what you're teaching your son.
Absolutely.
And so we make mistakes along the way. Man, I have screwed up so many times in my life, but it's those screw ups that I try to teach my kids not to, and really try to put in there. And I'm sure you're not either and won't be as your son gets older. I'm not afraid to tell them, look, this is where your dad screwed up. Wish I had done this differently. And sometimes they're like, big-eyed looking at it like, whoa, you did that? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, it's humanizing.
That's why I don't
yourself.
want you to do it.
100%. And I think to take that a step further, something that I've learned, again, just dealing with young people, and now I try to do with my son, is I can tell you my experience, right? So this is what happened when I did it. So I'm not going to tell you what to do or what not do necessarily when you get to a certain age. Now he's only 8, so yeah, I'm going to tell you what to do or not do. But here's what happened when I went that route. So now if you make the decision you make and things don't turn out, now we have to, like, the parenting can't stop, right? It can't say, well, I told you not to do it in the first place. Cool, fine. Now we're like, okay, now we have to figure out how to make the next decision a better decision, right? How can we stop digging the hole now and start to pull ourselves out of it? I think sometimes, man, it's another thing that just coaching has taught me is just you can't necessarily have an ego, right? You can't, like, being a dad, it's not. I'll tell you what, there was a young, I was on a panel one time, and there's a younger man who came to me and said, man, I really like what you said, and I just had a 1-year-old, and you could just see the desperation in his face, right? He wanted to do right, had no idea what to do, and it's scary. I mean,
it is.
When you realize that you have a human that you're responsible for, and you're going to be responsible for it for pretty much ever, it's like, holy smokes, right? So, and the one thing, man, I didn't know what to say. I'm not really into giving advice like that. I just do what I'm led to. I just do what I'm led to say. I say what I'm led to say, man. And something led me to tell him, the only thing I can tell you, brother, is it's not about you. It's just not. And I went on to explain that it's not that you don't matter. It's that whatever happens, you can't take it personally.
Yeah.
Because you still have to be the father from this point now, moving forward.
Yeah.
Right? So yes, they made a mistake. Cool. Son, I don't like what you did, but I still love you, but these consequences have to be paid. Whatever the consequence is. I don't love you any less. I don't like what you did. So what are we going to do from here? Right? I can't say, well, you embarrassed me. Fine. But now what? You know what I'm saying? Yes, I'm embarrassed as a dad. Cool. But how do you feel, son? Like, tell me what was going through your mind when you made that decision. Because to me, that's more important than just saying, I told you not to do it in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, what led to this? Because then it reminds me when I was a principal and I was watching, I was monitoring a teacher and observing a teacher, and a student raised their hand, and it was a struggling school. Student raised her hand and answered a question, and she goes, no, that's wrong. Like, why would you say that? And I'm like, whoa. Do you want them to answer questions? Or do you
want
not
them to ever raise their hand again?
So I can tell you that you're wrong. However, the lesson comes in, how'd you get there?
Yeah.
Like, what did you do where was the left turn? Because if you show me your work, if you show me your thought process, then we can talk about where we may have gone wrong in the thought process. And now you own the information, right? Yeah. You're paying the consequences, Rob. You know you did it wrong, right? There's a big red slash on your paper. Or in life, there's a slap on the wrist, there's an arrest, there's a car wreck, there's a whatever. Me telling you, son, well, you got to stop at stop signs. Oh, well, duh. You know, it's like, okay, what were you doing while you were driving? Oh, I just looked down and whatever. Yeah. What? Okay, now we can correct.
Yeah.
It's hard to correct. It's hard to parent from the result. You know what I'm saying? We got to go back to the cause.
Yeah. No, that's so good. You know, when you were talking earlier, it reminded me, I saw a clip on YouTube the other day, and it was by a guy, I think his name's Patrick Bet-David. And he was talking about fatherhood and raising sons. And he was talking about how hard it is to raise sons, how difficult it is raising sons, and the fact that and he said it so eloquently, and I'm going to butcher it, but basically the gist of it was, you're raising these sons to become independent and pouring everything into them to become independent so they can one day live without you. And that's tough. And it's so true because you are. And you're letting, you're trying to guide them. You're trying to find out, okay, what was behind that. But you're also letting them screw up. You're letting them make mistakes. You're knowing, hey, if you choose that path, here's what might happen.
Yeah.
And here's what probably will happen, or here was my experience. But you also have to let them so they can learn as well. But you're also teaching them life skills, all of these things so they can live without you, so they can be independent, so they can be strong, respectable men out in society as well. And it's not easy. It's tough.
You also have to talk to them, right? Son, what you did just ticked me off. No, listen. Boys, you have teenage boys. I taught and coached teenage boys, and I have an 80-year-old son. Sometimes they do stuff, and you're just like, what? Like, what? What did you... There's no possible, positive outcome from this. Why would you even...
My teenagers have never been that way, TJ. It's like all the time.
But I'm telling you, when I was coaching, I used to just I'd grind them. I'm literally coaching every possession and every move in every possession. And then I had to talk with my team, and they were like, "We just don't want to mess up because we don't want to make you mad." And in my brain, I'm like, first of all, that shouldn't be the reason you don't want to mess up.
Right.
Right. Making me mad has nothing to do with anything.
Right.
Because in my brain, I'm like, once the game over, it's over. But they don't feel that.
Yeah.
Because they respected me enough to want to make me happy.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, here's what I'm trying to tell you to do. Here's what I'm trying to get you to understand. But then that's when I kind of learned to sit back and let them talk. Like, I'll ask a question and I won't say anything. And in my brain, I'm like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But it's just like, do you want them to talk to you or do you not want them to talk to you, right? And so they'll say, well, and they're just fumbling through whatever explanation it is. But at the end of the day, they have an explanation, regardless of how stupid you think it is. And so it goes back to, it's not about you, because that's his thoughts. Yeah. So what you think is dumb doesn't matter. He's the one that has to live this life. And so to the point of what you're saying is, I tell you what helped me, Robert, and I'll say it like this. I took the pressure off of myself to say I'm raising a man. I'm not. I'm raising my son in every stage that he's in. And if I'm so concerned about raising a man, then there's no way I can be present as an 8-year-old.
I've never heard that. I like that a lot.
So it's like, well, as a man, he won't be a man for a very long time.
Yeah.
I like that. I can sit back and say, man, when I was 25, yeah, but you was 25 18 years ago.
Yeah.
So I hear you. There are some things that are universal. There are some things that stretch across generations, but it's more beneficial for me to teach you the lesson of doing hard things, of making tough decisions, of understanding there's consequences to every action, than to try to pinpoint the one thing that you did, because as parents, we do the best we can, but we often tread this line between like projection and protection. And we're trying to protect them from all the bad things, but we're just projecting our experiences onto them. And so we say, life is hard, so blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, but we work really, really hard to where their hard don't match our hard. And so sometimes as a parent, as a sports parent, I'll say sometimes, or even just as a regular dad, sometimes, especially raising boys, we feel that I got to put you in tough situations because life is hard. No. Their hard is still hard to them, regardless of how you view it, right? You could view it like, what? This is stupid. Like, why are you even, this ain't that hard, son. But to him it is. And for whatever reason it's hard. It could be hard just because he don't want to disappoint you. So he don't want to make the wrong turn. So it's like their hard is still hard. So it's more beneficial to teach them to do hard things and make hard decisions and live with the decisions they make than to say, life is hard, so I got to make it hard for you. Because that's just projection, even though we're trying to protect them from the outside world.
I like that. I like that a lot. That's I love that. And I probably should have taken that advice a long time ago. But now I don't want to say I'm on the home stretch, but no, I love that. I definitely do. Hey, let's go into your TED Talk. How coaching made you a better father. Can you kind of give me an overview of that? I was really impressed with
I
that.
appreciate that. Yeah, the only thing I have, the only experiences I have really to pull on that have positive outcomes are sports. Like sports have
Yeah.
taught me, and this is no slight to my dad. This is no
Yeah.
slight to my mom. You get a certain age though, I mean, your mom fusses at you. It's like, all right, mom, that's what moms do. They fuss,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's white noise at some point.
Yeah.
And then my dad he wasn't in the house, and so I had built up a resentment. So I wasn't listening to him anyway, right? So he could tell me the most sage advice in the world, and I didn't want to hear it. And so I relied on my safe haven was basketball. The sports is where I could control the outcome, or I can control my effort and see how that affected the outcome.
Yeah.
And so when I became a dad, I didn't really, I'll be honest, Robert, I didn't really feel, I had disassociated the duty of fatherhood with the spirit of fatherhood. So I
Mm.
jumped straight into, I got to change diapers, I got to make sure everything's all
Mm.
right. It wasn't like a feeling of, oh my God, this is a precious being, my legacy. Nah, it was just like, I'm a dad now, so let's get to the checklist,
Yeah.
right? Let's make sure mom is okay. Okay. I gotta get my life in order and blah 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 blah. Until I had him during the summer by myself, and I was blessed to have my mother-in-law stay with us for 3 months, and she would go home on weekends. My wife went back to work pretty soon, which is a whole different conversation. That she had to go back so soon. And so during the summer, I had him, and I had no idea what I was doing. Man, he ran me up and down this house. I didn't know. I'm like, oh, this is not. Everybody's like, enjoy it now. I'm like, this is not enjoyable at all. Like, I didn't know how to put him down for him to go to sleep. I'm just like, oh my God, I'm keeping him in the same clothes. Anyway, the only sense of stability that I knew what to do was coaching. I knew how to like get people to buy in. I knew how to get my point across. I knew how to listen and make adjustments. I know how to view things from a wider lens. I know how to take big, big, big things and pare it down to the smallest kind of step on the ladder before scaffolding it to the big things. And so that's just kind of what I leaned into. And I said, I'm gonna just treat this like I'm coaching, man. And it kind of it just made this big idea of being a dad. It took it down to day, minute to minute, right? And so I'll tell you one of the biggest lessons I ever learned was I was drawing up plays, right? Because I'm a basketball nerd, so I still draw plays, and I drew up this great play, and it had like 8 different squares, and I forgot the program I used to use, and I printed it out, and I was gonna give it to my team, and I realized first of all I don't have anybody who can throw the ball in effectively, so that kind of ends this play. Two, my point guard can't go left. My two guard can't go right. So this play seems amazing.
Just not
This
for
is
my
not going to
team.
work. This is not going to work. And so we're in the middle of the game, and here's how crazy. I had to take kids and run them underneath so that they're on the side of the floor where they could go the direction they need to go.
Yeah.
Anyway, so in that season we were in a tight game, and I knew the play I wanted to run, and I know we had worked on it, and it had never worked in practice because again, not the greatest of basketball players, great
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
So I finally go, well, what do you feel comfortable running? And they look at me like, are you sure? I'm like, just tell me, because I don't know what to call now. And they call the play. We end up running it. We missed the shot, but we got a good shot, right? And that was just a light for me, man. As a coach, it's like it doesn't matter what you know. Like it only matters what you know in the sense of guiding. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, all you can do is deal with the kids that you have.
Got to
And
work with
that
what you got.
that that helped me as a father because it's like I could want him to be whatever I want him to be. But at the end of the day, I have to love and guide the kid that I have. And it's kind of a conflicting thing because as parents, we want our kids to be their own people, but then we also want to impress upon them to be a certain way. And
Yeah.
those two things don't go together. right? The one of the biggest things, to your point, I think one of the biggest things as a coach, one of the biggest kudos I ever gave myself was I walked into practice and the guys were already warming up and saying things that we say as coaches to each other, right? As a parent, I think the biggest, they can't pay you back for raising them. I think the biggest payback that you can ever get is for them to not need you
Hmm.
for anything
That,
other
no,
than
that's
calling
true.
dad,
Yeah.
yeah, saying what's
Yeah.
up,
Yeah.
being almost like a companion.
Yeah.
And then it's weird because, again,
That's
going
what
back to
you
the
hope
point about
for.
Mayo, that's what you hope for, right? As a coach, you don't want to be coaching every play of every game, bro. Sometimes you just got to go play basketball.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you, right? Coach, they fouling me. What you want me to do? I got
Yeah.
a suit on.
Yeah.
Figure it out. So as a dad, it's like, Dad, son, I can't. What you want me to do?
I
Figure
mean,
it out.
that goes back to what I was saying earlier, that Patrick Bet David said, you're raising them so they become independent, so they don't need you.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, so that's what the talk ended up being about. And then it trails off obviously into like, man, anything that you encounter in life, there's something that you can lean on. That's like a similar experience for you to know that you can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it. Because I mean, fatherhood is still scary. There's
Oh
times
my
like you wonder if
gosh.
you're doing it right. You're just like, how did I do that? I messed up there. But I think the saving grace, man, is something that coaching taught me was if you build a good enough, if you build a positive culture, that doesn't always mean you being nice, right? You can be
It's true.
kind, but you don't have to be nice. Sometimes the nicest thing you can do for people is tell them the truth, no matter how ugly it sounds.
I
But
mean,
if
that's
you,
love though.
that's love.
That's love.
Expectations,
Yeah.
expectations.
Yeah.
And the culture gives you the equity to say, I'm sorry, or I may have done that wrong, son, or I may have done that wrong to point guard. I hear you now. I see it. Okay, I can adjust that. Right. And it just takes the pressure off of having to be a superhero. You know what I mean? It really
Yep.
does. It
And that's
really does.
such a big thing too, is falling on the sword with your kids. When you screw up and admitting to them that, hey, I made a mistake. I was wrong.
Yeah.
Or I did this I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And
And our parents, they did the best they could. And I think what helped me in my relationship with my parents, especially my father, was when I realized he's just a dude. He just happened to be my dad.
it's his first time. Yeah. I mean, look, it's our first time going through parenthood, right?
That's right.
I mean, we haven't
That's
been
right.
through this. There's no classes. There's none of that.
You have a baby,
Yeah.
and it's all fun and games and parties and celebrations, and then the actual human comes,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh man. And as soon as you get used to it, you feel like you got in stride, they change, and then you
Oh,
change.
do they? Do they ever? Yeah. And just you wait. Hey, tell me this. So far, biggest challenges for you as a father.
Ooh, getting out of my own way, honestly.
Well, that's
And
good.
yeah, what I mean by that is I analyze things to a pulp. Like it's bad.
Yeah.
But I can't do that with him. Because like you said, just like it's our first time being a dad, it's his first time being 8 years old.
Being 8 years old. Yeah.
He's figuring it out. I'm figuring it out. His mom is figuring it out. And so I have to give myself enough grace to say that if something goes wrong, that doesn't mean you did it wrong, right? And it's crazy because as a principal, I used to tell teachers sometimes this student isn't a disruption until you've made it a disruption. Like if they're tapping their pencil, just take the pencil.
Yeah.
But when you say, hey, stop tapping the pencil, okay, well now you've made it a disruption.
Yeah.
So
True.
as a father, it's like, where do the lectures go? And then where do I just say, all right, you knew that wasn't right. We talked about it. Move on. All right. So not preaching to him has been not turning every little thing into a big deal has been my biggest challenge.
That's yeah. No, that's good. That's good. It's tell me this though. What are you most looking forward to?
Ooh, that's a good question, man. I want to see how he
You're in such a
is.
great time too,
I
man.
am.
8 years old is so much fun, and you've got a lot in front of you, right?
It
Because
is. It's a
I know
lot of
your son's
energy.
going to play sports,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah. Yep.
So what are
Yep.
you most looking forward to?
I think I'm looking forward to figuring out what his true passion is. Right now it's
Yeah,
basketball, but who knows?
yeah.
And I'm looking forward to figure out what his true passion is, and then how he pursues that. I think that's what I'm looking forward to.
And if it's not basketball,
That's fine, because but I think again to the point, I think that the lessons that I teach him now is not that you have to be good at basketball. Is
yeah,
that if you want to be good at anything, it's going to take work. So
yeah.
if you want to be in right now, 8 years old, right? So he wants to be an astronaut, um, NBA player. And what he told me was if the NBA don't work out, he'll just play in the MLB. Mind you, only 1 year of T-ball is his experience.
Hey,
So
that's good though. Do not kill those
paleontologist,
dreams, man. Do not.
paleontologist, engineer. So he wants to do those four things all at once. And I'm like, this is what I've learned, right? Cool. Let's figure it out. In fact, Robert, my next book is called I Want to Be a Dinosaur. And it came from a conversation I had with him. And sorry to get off track here,
No,
but
no, no. I love it.
it came from a conversation I've had with him when he was 2 going on 3. Because my son is the daddy, did you know guy, right? Fun facts. So one of his early like did you know things was dinosaurs. And so I say, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he goes, well, I want to be a dinosaur. And I'm like, that was a turning point for me because I could have just said, well, son, you can't be a dinosaur.
Yeah, yeah.
Instead, I said, okay, well, we'll figure it out. But what it did was it created this like passion for dinosaurs to where he realized that I think I want to be a paleontologist, right? And that's what the book is. So the book is kind of goes through that whole thing. And the idea of it is as parents, this goes back to my point of treating them like an adults when they're not, adults quite yet. And I think we squelch their imagination too soon.
We do.
And imagination is a prerequisite to greatness. Like, do you know
Oh, yep.
how delusional you have to be to think you're gonna make it to the NBA? You know what I mean? And when you're there, how crazy you have to be to think that you're actually gonna be good while you're there. Like, it takes an unrealistic level of confidence. And I think that confidence comes from having an imagination that you can do anything and you can be anything.
The dreams of an 8-year-old. I mean, when you're so accurate and just not squelching those dreams of an 8-year-old and letting them dream.
Yeah, man. That imagination. As adults, if we can just keep that, hold on tight to that imagination, man, this world will be even better than it is, man. Because just try it. Just
Yeah,
imagine that you can do it. I don't even believe in wishing. I don't even teach my son because it is scary raising males, right?
yeah.
Because there's a lot of underlying rules that nobody has even taught us to talk about, and so we're trying to like the unwritten laws of manhood. We're trying to pass down this invisible book to them, right? And one of the things is allowing him to explore all of his ideas without me trying to correct his ideas. Like,
Yeah.
son, you don't do it like this, do it like that. Like, and that's difficult because I'm a coach by nature, right? But just trying to make sure that he's out in the world with enough confidence to understand when the space isn't for him and not taking it personally.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I feel like you get to a certain age and we're not living for ourselves and we're living for society because we're so worried about what other people will think, what other people will say, how I'm supposed to perform, how I'm supposed to do this and that. And I'm not, I definitely don't think you should be some dreamer. Oh, today I want to be an astronaut. Today I want
Right.
to, be a singer. Tomorrow I want to be an NBA player. And you're, 30 years old and chasing all these different things. But I think that is where we fail a lot of times of squashing dreams and chasing your passion, because I think there are so many people that never really pursued their passion, and they probably could have achieved it, but we end up living for society, whether it's our parents, our spouse, our friends, and I look at this, and I'm older than you, but people are in your life for such a short period of time. You think about groups of friends you have, and some might be in your life, some might be in your life the whole time. Others might be a 2-year period, a 4-year period, 6-year period. That's really, really short. But we're living our entire life for those friends that are in our lives for 4 years, 6 years, whatever it may be, and worried about what they'll think. And but we do. Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
Yeah, it does. Because truthfully, people don't. We've made that up. Because truthfully, people don't care that much. Like
Yeah,
the ones, like
they
I
don't.
think for what's helped me in life, man, and is that this is this is going to sound a little crazy than probably mean it, but how insignificant I truly am to the world has kept me kind of grounded. Because it's like the people that I mean a lot to, I mean a lot to them.
Yeah,
But there's so many people in this world who don't even know I exist.
yeah,
And not only do they not know, they don't care whether I exist or not.
it's true.
So they truly, but the algorithm of social media and society has caused us to think that that everything matters more than it does, because there's this false proximity to things. And so raising a kid in this type of society, I'm sure with you with teenagers, it's like, whew, it's probably a whole different deal. But with my son now, it's like I do think, Robert, that there's a difference between imagination, being a dreamer, and that obviously has to then mature into being a goal setter and going after goals. But I do think it is incumbent upon the people who they trust to be honest.
Yeah,
And I believe and I believe this has become a detriment in sports, that we've leaned into the half truths that you can do whatever you set your mind to. I don't believe that. I
no,
believe it's more important to say that even though I can't do whatever I set my mind to, I've learned from working, from pursuing, that if there is something that needs to be done, I can set my mind to it.
yeah,
You see what I'm saying? And so
yep,
along the way, you may not make it to the NBA, but you may have made it. Basketball may have taken you further than it ever would have taken you had you not worked on it. And now you played on a basketball team with the CEO of some startup tech company that
true,
wants to give
yep,
you a job, and now you're the VP or regional director at 28, and you would have never gotten there had you
yep,
not put in your mind to the idea of being good at basketball. And now you take all those lessons that you took in being good at this one thing that started off at some point at 6 years old was your day one, and now you're 26 and this is your day one. And you take those skills and they translate. And so I think we have to stop, teaching kids that there aren't consequences to your reactions, that, hey, the coach is this and blah, blah, blah. That none of that matters. What
no,
matters is, are you doing every single thing in your power to be as good as you say you want to be on the thing that you say you want to do? And then now, if it doesn't work out, quote unquote, if you worked hard, there is no failure. Every
right.
result is
I
just
agree.
data. It's just
Yep,
data.
yep,
So okay, this didn't happen. Why didn't it? All right, cool. There's things I can't control. I'm 5'6". I'm a point guard. Probably not gonna make it to the NBA, but I've made myself this finance guru to where now I'm the general manager
yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
still in the NBA.
yeah,
Like, what difference does it make? Well, I put myself in the company, and now my company is a partner with the NBA.
yeah,
Like, this. I think it's more important to just say, son, hey, you may not be able to do everything you set your mind to, but you can set your mind to things, and that will take you further than it will ever if you didn't.
TJ, tell me this: where do we as parents mess up the most with our kids of sports? Or
Oh
what
man,
advice would you give for parents for with that have kids in sports?
be the parent. That's it.
And that
Just be their
is
parent. That's
and that is
plenty.
being what?
That's so, yeah. So this is formulated from multiple levels, right? Being an athlete and having a parent in the stands, being a coach and dealing with parents, and then being a principal in dealing with parents. And on all three things, I'll say the same thing. Things outside of your control do, if it is more helpful to just parent your child and say, okay, if the coach isn't coaching up to your standards and you go home and you tell your athlete that the coach sucks, what does that help?
Exactly. Agree.
Like that, how is that helping? It's not helping at all. It is more beneficial for you to have the conversation with your athlete and say, listen, son, daughter, I know the coach isn't doing what you would like to do. I know you're not playing as much you can do, as much as you can, but how hard are we working? So when the time comes, you'll still get to play. Whether the coach pulls you in, pulls you out, or sits you on the bench, or puts you in, and that's beyond your control. So now, how are you dealing with not playing as much as you want? Are you showing up early? Are you doing everything you're supposed to do? Are you showing attitude? Are you being a good teammate? Right? Are we doing all these things that we can control? But if we take on the attitude of dissatisfaction, of being disgruntled, how then do we expect this young person who is taking in all of our emotions, both said and unsaid, without the 20 plus years of filtration that we may have as adults, and they're taking that with them onto this team? How is that helpful?
Yeah.
How is that helpful to them? And here's the second thing I'll say, Robert. Ask your athlete why they play the sport they play. What is it you want to get out of this? Do you want to go to college and play volleyball? No? Okay. Then you just enjoy it with your friends? Cool. That's easy for me. We can sit back and just clap it up and go home.
Yeah.
I don't have to yell at the coach and scream at the ref, right? Or son, why do you play basketball? You don't play as much as you would like to, right? Oh, Dad, I don't care about playing time. I'm not going to college to play basketball. Okay, this makes my life easy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I think to your point, we put onto them what we think should be happening. And truth be told, if you're coaching them in the car to the game, you're coaching them over the coach during the game, you're coaching them after the game on the drive home, when are you parenting them? Like what
Great. Yeah.
teach to deal with the difficulties of a difficult season?
Yeah.
And I would tell every parent, if I had to give them any advice, this is your child, parent them first, and then let the athlete be the athlete. Because you
Yeah.
still got to parent that kid. And you don't want your relationship to revolve around the sport they play.
My thing was always just, and it still is just effort.
That's it.
I want to see the effort out there.
That's
I
it.
want to see that. That's look, you can miss 8 shots. That's fine. You can miss 8 in a row, but I want to see the effort. If you're going out there and you're half-assing it, no, that's not what I want. And I love what you're saying about not putting down the coaches, because then I think the kids lose respect for the coach, and how can that coach then coach them? It's gone. And I think that's where a lot of parents really screw up. But it is going to the coach also, saying, Coach, not how can I get more playing time, but what suggestions do you have for me, or what can I do to help the team? That is my big thing, is going to them. Not, hey, Coach, I want to play more. I see Tim is getting a lot more time than I am, and I'm better than him. But it's no, what can I do to help the team?
Yeah. I'll give you 2 stories, man. One, it's a story of, I'm sharing it with you earlier. I'm going to share it to a larger, to my base as well. But there's a story of Tyrone Basie. Tyrone Basie was a kid who came into Temple the year after I was there. So I was a sophomore. He was coming in as a freshman. So he came in with the point guard too. They grew up together. So they went to the same high school. So they both came in together. The point guard was highly recruited. He just didn't have the grades. And I hurt my ankle going into a preseason tournament. So Tyrone started. Tyrone's a heck of a player. Okay. Tyrone was a better basketball player than I was. And I knew that. And I said, I have to get back on that court because I can't. This Tyrone can't let that Tyrone take my place. Okay.
Right.
Now, here's a lesson in that. Tyrone played better with our point guard, which is the Kyron Nix, and Tyrone was the better basketball player. So as a starter, I was probably anywhere between. I was never the best, never the worst player on the floor. So I was anywhere between 5 and 8, right, up to
Yeah.
10.
Yeah.
If I'd have came off the bench, I was better than probably 80% of every six man we played against. So at the time, that probably would have made me look even better because
Yeah.
I'm playing against bench guys now,
Yeah.
right? And I'm a starter for
Yeah.
all intents and purposes. So I tell that story to say sometimes your role fits you better than you may think it does.
Agree.
Whether I was better than Tyrone or whether I wasn't better than Tyrone didn't matter. Coming off the bench, I know for a fact I'm better than your seventh man.
Yeah.
Not better at all times than your starting two guard, and Tyrone may be, right? So not only would have looked better, our team would have been better. And
Yep.
Tyrone looked up to me, and I wasn't a good enough teammate to just let him say, "All right, Tyrone, hey, you go ahead. Here's what I'm seeing out there. Here's what you can do," and just propped him up, right? Story 2, my son, coach, he's heard me talk about parents, just being a parent. And so he's playing 4-year-old soccer. He's over it, right? They're practicing twice a week for some weird reason and then playing on Saturdays. And I'm watching
For
him
4-year-old soccer.
Man, he's picking daisies, bro. And I'm heated, right? And I'm like, what are we doing? So we get into the practice. He's coming straight from daycare.
Yeah.
Straight from daycare to soccer practice. And I'm having like a heart-to-heart with him in the car.
Yeah.
Right. Like, son, you gotta play harder. Okay.
Yeah.
You got the ball's in front of you. You need to go after it. The coach is telling you kick it this way, and you're just running in a circle. He's sitting back there. This is where, like, the parenting you out of your kid becomes difficult, right?
Yep.
He's sitting back there taking it all in, and he goes, I gave my most passionate speech, and I stopped, and I finally go, do you hear what I'm saying? He says, Daddy? I say, yeah. He said, you don't play soccer. I said, no, I don't. He says, don't coach.
Ooh.
I said, oh, well, and that was that. And I've never done it again. He told me, he said, don't coach. And he went back to like drinking his little, apple juice or whatever, just as clear as that. And I don't know if that was divine intervention that stepped in or what, but that knocked
Probably
me
was.
right back down to he's right. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just sitting up here yelling and being upset. And I'm like, I need you to be me is what I was saying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Be aggressive. Da-da-da. He's like, man, I don't care. Like, I'm 4. I've been a long day of daycare. They got me out here. This is the second practice of the week. I don't care, bro. And I said, well, I just want you to be better. He goes, sometimes this is better. And I said, that's a true story.
Wow.
You know what? As good as this is what I tell parents, as good as you think your son should be, they may be playing the best they can play.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just have to accept it.
Yeah.
Also, that same dude that you have to tell 10 times to put his plate in the sink, that same dude that you have to tell to get his underwear off his bedroom floor 10 times is the same dude I'm coaching. So keep that in mind when things are going haywire out there, and just think, I probably didn't tell him to do that. In fact, I probably told him to do something else 10 times.
Yeah.
And that usually gets them. I've heard a parent tell me, I never thought about it like that. Like, yeah, they don't change when they come to me. So I'm not saying that coaches should be absolved of any wrongdoing, right?
Right.
But it just isn't helpful to put negativity into your athlete and expect them to go out and perform positively. That's just not in human nature.
I agree. I totally agree there. And, going back to just the pressure we as parents put on the kids. And, I think we talked about this a week or so ago, was so many times I see parents running themselves crazy, taking their kids to lessons outside of the practices, and they're griping about, oh, I've got to take him to this and then to this. And, and he never wants to go to this. And he's always late and, can't get his stuff together. And I'm like, whoa, if he doesn't want to go, that tells you something right there.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when they're of a certain age, because then it's up to them if they want to be really good, if they want to be great. I mean, that's up to them.
Yeah.
But I think we push too much as parents.
Now, and one more thing, man, it just came to me. Take the pressure off your kid to pay you back for supporting them. And that's in the form of, if they're giving you, I know you play for AAU and they're not playing well during the season, but also just because a kid plays a sport, they don't owe you a college scholarship.
No.
They just don't. And I know that's us saying, you better get a scholarship, all this time and money we spend. No, this is their passion at the time. And as parents, we are called to support that. And if they happen to get a college scholarship, fine. Thank God for that, right? But that's not they're not obligated to get a college scholarship because they need to pay you back for the time that you spent supporting them. So take that pressure off and just find a way to make it fun, man. It's a lot of pressure in sports now with the NIL and the this and the that and the transfer portal and the blah and the AAU and the rankings and the Instagram clips. At what point do you just enjoy doing what you're doing?
That's it. That is it right there. And I see it go so much from the pressure from parents into the kids that it just, how can they enjoy it? How, especially when you get in high school, how can you, you think back to your high school, enjoying those games and everything about it. And how can they enjoy if they've got all this pressure from their parents and they don't even realize that they're putting on themselves as well. With that. It breaks my heart. It takes kind of the love and the fun out of it.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Hey, so before we wrap this up, what other advice do you have for parents?
Man, again, I'm not one to give advice, man, but I would just say enjoy the ride. You're changing, they're changing. Leave space for your child to be human.
Yeah, that's good.
They're just humans. They're humans with their own thoughts, their own emotions. And despite you doing the best you can to mold them a certain way, I think give yourself the grace to know that it's probably working. And the part of them that annoys you the most probably comes directly from you.
No, does it ever? Does it ever?
Don't be afraid to laugh. Don't be afraid to show vulnerability. And don't be afraid to be wrong. We don't have to be perfect. We just have to try our best. And I think that we should give the kids more credit than we give them to understand that they know that we're trying the best we can.
Yeah, there you go. You go. Hey, so last question. If you were to suggest 2 or 3 people or 2 or 3 subjects for this podcast, who would you, I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot. Is there anybody that comes to mind?
People, I don't know as much people. I think.
Or what subjects then?
Yeah, I think sports dads or sports parenting is always a big topic, especially now. Coming from somebody who either has been a pro or has a kid currently going through the recruiting process or whatever the case may be. Also, I would say I think the difference between, because I don't know, I only have a son, but the difference between raising a young man and a young woman.
I've had a few, and I want to dive into that even more so, because I can't, having 2 boys, I can't tell you. Thank goodness I don't have girls,
man.
But I would love to know. I would love to dive into that more.
Yeah,
especially in today's society.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then I think that's where my mind goes immediately. Obviously, with that, there will be other things like, social media and kids, raising kids in this era, which, I'm fully immersed in now with my young one. But I think those 2 are the first 2 are the ones that comes to mind immediately.
Those are great. Those are great. TJ, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, man, I
appreciate it. I really do. Awesome. And thank you for taking time out of your day too.
Thank you for having me.
Come
I truly
on.
Appreciate it.
Oh, you bet. Hey, and thank you all for listening to the Dad to Dads podcast. You can find us on Spotify or Apple, as well as most platforms. You can also find us on YouTube and Instagram. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss any future episodes. Also, leave comments. Feel free to leave a comment. I read every single one of them. I love receiving the feedback as well. And look, thank you all again, and we will talk to you next time.